The night had settled over Pixie Hollow, blanketing the magical land in a soft, velvety darkness. The only illumination came from the shimmering glow of fireflies flitting between the trees, the gentle twinkle of fairy homes carved into the giant mushrooms and tree trunks, and, of course, the vast, glittering canopy of stars overhead. Tinkerbell sat at her workbench, deep in concentration as she carefully adjusted the tiny gears of a broken lantern. She loved fixing things. Tinkering was not just her talent, but her passion. With her tiny hands, she adjusted a small metal hinge, tightening a screw with her special tool. "They're all done," she said, dusting off her hands and giving the lantern a satisfied tap. As soon as she did, the lantern flickered to life, its soft golden glow reflecting in her bright blue eyes. Tinkerbell grinned proudly, but just as she was about to admire her work, something caught her eye. Out in the vast sky, beyond the treetops of Pixie Hollow, a strange flickering light appeared. It wasn't like the stars that usually twinkled steadily in the heavens. No, this one danced, it wavered, pulsated, and then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it dimmed. Tinkerbell's wings fluttered involuntarily. "That's odd," she murmured to herself. She turned her head, making sure she wasn't just imagining it. But there it was again, the tiny light, flickering like a candle in the wind. Curious and unable to ignore her adventurous spirit, she took off into the air, her wings carrying her swiftly toward the higher branches of a nearby tree. From here, she had an even better view. The strange light appeared again this time. It seemed even closer. "I have to find out what that is," she exclaimed. Without wasting another second, she zipped toward Silvermist's home. Silvermist, the water fairy, was always gazing at the stars reflected in the water. And if anyone knew what this strange light was, it would be her. Silvermist was resting by the moonlit pond, her fingers playfully dipping into the water, creating ripples that shimmered in the silver glow of the night sky. She hummed softly, enjoying the peaceful evening, when Tinkerbell landed beside her in a rush. "Sil, did you see that?" Tinkerbell panted, pointing toward the sky. Silvermist tilted her head. "See what, Tink?" Tinkerbell gestured wildly toward the heavens. "That light, it's flickering in and out. It's not like a normal star. It looks lost." Silvermist's deep blue eyes widened in wonder. She followed Tinkerbell's gaze and gasped softly when she saw the light for herself. "Oh, it's so pretty. But you're right. It does look different from the others," she said, her voice filled with curiosity. Tinkerbell crossed her arms. "Exactly. We have to find out what it is." Just then, a gust of wind rustled the leaves, and a blur of violet zipped past them. It was Vidia, the fastest flying fairy in Pixie Hollow. "What are you two staring at?" Vidia asked, slowing to hover beside them. Tinkerbell pointed again. "That light? Have you ever seen anything like it?" Vidia squinted, studying the flickering glow. It's strange, I'll admit. But who cares? It's probably just some weird trick of the stars. Nothing to get all excited over." But Tinkerbell wasn't convinced. She knew in her heart that this wasn't normal. This was something special, and she was determined to find out what it was. The next morning, Tinkerbell wasted no time. She gathered her closest friends Fawn, Rosetta, Iridessa, Silvermist, and Vidia in a small clearing to discuss the mysterious light. "I saw it too," Iridessa, the light fairy, confirmed. "It wasn't behaving like a normal star. It flickered in a pattern almost like it was trying to say something." Fawn, the animal fairy, tilted her head, like how fireflies talk with their blinking lights. Iridessa nodded. "Exactly." Tinkerbell's wings quivered with excitement. "Then maybe it's not just a star, maybe it's a living thing." The fairies exchanged glances. "A living star?" Rosetta asked, raising an elegant eyebrow. "That's quite the idea, Sugar Plum." "But it makes sense," Tinkerbell insisted. "What if it's a baby star and it doesn't know where to go?" Vidia folded her arms. "Even if that were true, what do you plan to do about it?" "We can't just fly into the sky and carry it home, Tink," Tinkerbell huffed. "We don't have to. If it's lost, it might fall to Neverland." That got everyone's attention. "You really think it might come down here?" Fawn asked. "It's possible," Silvermist said thoughtfully. "And if it does, we should be ready." Rosetta nodded. "Well, we certainly can't let a little star get lost forever. Poor thing. If it needs help, we'll help it." Vidia sighed. "Fine. But if we're doing this, let's at least make a plan." The fairies huddled together and formed a plan. Tinkerbell and Vidia would scout the skies from the highest trees in Neverland. Iridessa and Silvermist would watch from Mermaid Lagoon, where the waters reflected the stars perfectly. Rosetta and Fawn would patrol the meadows and forests, in case the light fell to the ground. As night fell, the fairies took their positions, keeping their eyes fixed on the sky. Tinkerbell perched on the tallest branch of an old oak tree, her heart pounding with excitement. watched the heavens closely, waiting, hoping, and then, just as the moon reached its highest point, the strange light returned. This time, it wasn't just flickering, it was falling. A streak of golden light shot across the sky, growing brighter as it descended toward Neverland. Tinkerbell gasped, "It's coming down!" The fairies across Neverland saw it too. "It's falling toward Mermaid Lagoon," Silvermist cried. "Follow it!" Tinkerbell shouted, launching into the air with Vidia right beside her. The fairies raced through the night, chasing the descending glow as it streaked toward the lagoon. But just as they neared, a strong gust of wind blew through the air, knocking them off course. Tinkerbell tumbled through the sky, struggling to regain control. The wind roared through the jungle, rustling the trees and kicking up waves in the lagoon, and then crash. The light vanished behind the dense trees of the Neverland jungle. The fairies landed, breathless. "Did you see where it went?" Iridessa panted. Tinkerbell pointed toward the jungle. "It landed somewhere in there." A hush fell over the group as they stared into the darkened trees. The jungle was vast, full of twisting vines, hidden dangers, and deep secrets. And somewhere in that darkness, a lost star was waiting to be found.